Hi everyone, it's Nini. Welcome to my channel. I just wanted to do a little life update. I've been struggling. The past 6 months or so have been pretty rough, especially the last 3 months. Just in summary, my dad died, my car died, and last week my dog died. I've been hit with a lot. I am an addict in recovery. I'm not comfortable yet sharing publicly what my addiction is. I have an addiction to food and makeup, obviously, but like the bad stuff. I'm not comfortable just yet talking publicly about it. I am a big believer that talking about things is very, very beneficial because you can help somebody else who's struggling with the same things. I got sober from that in September of 2018. In 2019, my drinking had increased that year. So November of 2019, then I decided to give up everything that was mind altering. So like even Benadryl, NyQuil, anything that would make you feel calm, sleepy, anything like that. But then May of last year, so May of 2021, I had barely hung on to my sobriety through the winter because the winter was rough. That was also kind of the height of the pandemic. I think a lot of people did relapse throughout the pandemic. And then that May, I caught my boyfriend at his ex-girlfriend's house when he said he was at physical therapy. I had been hanging on by a thread, and that was just the thing that pushed me over. And so I started drinking alcohol again. So I was already in a bad place. And then in December, my father died. It was unexpected. He didn't have perfect health, but he didn't have anything that made us think that his time was going to be that soon. There was definitely a shock there. My dad was my favorite person in the world, so that hurt. I drank a little bit off and on, but for some reason in February, it started to become like an every night thing almost as a coping mechanism. I think it was February 20th, the transmission on my car died. In the grand scheme of things, the car is the least important, but still it was another loss. It's something I've had in my life for over a decade, and now that's gone too. To repair it would have been like $4,200. I really didn't want to buy a new car because the car market is horrible, but my car was old and it had some other issues, so it just didn't make sense to put that much money into it. 3 days after the transmission died, we woke up and my dog was bloated. Her belly was bloated. For about 2 weeks prior to that, she had coughed once a day, but I didn't think it was that serious. I brought her into the vet and she was suspicious of congestive heart failure. She did an x-ray, but she had so much fluid in her that she couldn't even see her heart. And she did point to an area she suspected was a mass, but she couldn't tell for sure because of the fluid. Started her on some meds. She did improve a little bit, but then last Monday, she started breathing heavy. That night, I let her out to go to the bathroom. When I went to let her back in, she was just standing there. I thought she was pointing at a bunny or a squirrel. She was a German Shorthair pointer. She was in that pose, I could only see her from behind, but she was just frozen and not moving, and she was looking off into where the bunnies come. And so I thought, oh, she was, pointing at a bunny, but I didn't see a bunny. And then when she turned to me, she had bile coming out of her mouth. And she was just acting really funny because that was at night. I brought her to the emergency vet. They kept her overnight. When she did an ultrasound, she had fluid in her pericardium. She had pleural fluid, and she still had the abdominal fluid. She drained the pericardium or the pleural fluid because that area doesn't decrease with the medication. She said she could see a large mass on her heart. So then the next day, I'd already had a follow-up appointment with my regular vet, so I brought her back in there and talked to her. She said that it was most likely a hemangiosarcoma, which has a really, really poor prognosis for dogs because it's growing in your heart. It's getting so much blood supply. Obviously, you can't do surgery on a heart and take a mass out like that. And I wouldn't have put her through that because she was 11 and a half. Talked to my vet, and she said she can keep coming back to have fluid drained. She can still be on the medication. She had already stopped eating some of her dog food at that point, so her ribs were showing. The day before was the first time she gave me a look where she was like, okay, Mom, I don't feel good. I took the rest of the week off to spend time with her because I knew the end was probably coming. I was going to bring her in Friday for a follow-up appointment, but her breathing never improved after draining. She still, was kind of active and running around, but she just kept getting skinnier and skinnier. The vet was very nice. She came here and did it actually in the spot that I'm sitting in. I got to hold her and tell her that I loved her. I take comfort in knowing that my dad was there for her. My dad lived in assisted living the last years of his life. My dog knew which room was his, and so I could walk in the front door and take her off the leash and she would run right to his room. She'd always get there before me, so as I was walking down the hall, I'd hear him say, "Hey there," or, "Well, hi." She found you!
You betcha.
I kind of imagine that's what it was like in heaven when Sophia got there. From the time my dad died to the time Sophia, my dog, died, that was less than 3 months. My dog was more than just a dog. She was my best friend. We did everything together. Life right now just looks so different than it did 3 months ago. When Sophia first got sick, my dad was the first person I thought of calling. I knew life could be cruel. I knew it. Like, I've been through some really bad stuff in my life, but this past 3 months have been really horrible. My way of coping has been drinking, which I know is not healthy. I am seeing my therapist. She's had me on a pretty strict schedule ever since my dad died. And you could probably be thinking, well, if you're seeing your therapist, why are you drinking? If I was not seeing my therapist, I know I would have relapsed on the bad stuff, because even before Sophia died, I had thoughts of relapsing. So she's keeping me in check there. It's weird to say that I'm drinking like a fish, but it can be worse. I know if I relapse on the bad stuff, I will die. I don't think I'd be able to get sober a second time from it. So drinking is okay right now. Aside from family and close friends, I've only had one person who acknowledged that I'm going through a really, really tough time. Are you supposed to lose your dad and your best friend and just be 100% fine with it? I mean, it hurts. And I only had that one person who said, "You've been hit with some hard knocks these past months," and acknowledged that, and that meant a lot. I struggle with self-esteem, and I struggle with feeling like I matter, and I've struggled with that my entire life. My dad was the only person who I never doubted loved me. Dogs love you unconditionally. I've lost the two most important people in my life in less than 3 months. And yes, I referred to my dog as a person, because she was to me. My whole world, though, has just been torn apart. And it's a struggle. I mean, grief is hard. Oh man, grief is hard. And I know it's just something that you have to adjust to. And I know I'll get to that point. I have my mom and my sister for support, especially my sister. She's been checking up on me a lot the past few days since Sophia died. I have friends that reach out and check on me. But like right now, I want my dad back. And I want my dog. I just can't deal with the pain right now. Every time I see my therapist, we do talk about the drinking. I know if it gets to a point where it's like really, really bad. I mean, I could talk to my therapist about anything. I've been seeing her for 7 years. She's been my longest relationship. And like I said, I know if I wasn't seeing her, I probably would have relapsed on the bad stuff. And so as long as I don't do that, I feel like I have a little bit of control. Any alcoholic can tell you it makes things better for a little bit. I think we need to normalize talking about things that we struggle with. Not everything is all sunshine and rainbows. You know, life is hard. Life has really, really tough moments. The loss of a parent and the loss of a pet are huge. Lots of people struggle with addiction. The more we talk about those things, makes it easier to deal with almost, because you can see other people are struggling, and so then it doesn't make you feel that bad about your own struggles. I know things will get better than they are right now. That's just how life is, but it's just really heavy right now. I have to give a lot of credit to my sister's kids. Those kids mean the world to me. That's one reason I don't want to relapse on the bad stuff. I can't do that to the kids, especially now that they've lost their grandfather. They need me too. They're the best medicine in the world, really. I had just kind of gotten back into face painting. Then when my dog got sick, that changed things. I am still working on some true crime stuff here and there. That helps. It's a big distraction to be able to sit down and record a video or edit a video. It does help my mental health because it gives me something to do. Like I said, I just wanted to sit down and talk. This is also good therapy for me, just to talk, even though I pay somebody to listen to me talk. If you watched all of this, thank you for listening. I know things will get better. I just need to hang in there through this tough part. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.